This year's conference partner is the Embassy of the Kingdom of Belgium. It is therefore ideal that the ambassador, His Excellency William de Bats, greets everyone and makes a brief opening statement before the next presentation.
Dame i gospodo, drago mi je što sam danas ovdje zbog Belgije, zemlje partner na ovoj drugoj konferenciji o 360 stupnjeva otpada, koju organiziraju Motus Media i zgradonačelnik. Ovo partnerstvo također je moguće zahvaljujući dvijema belgijskim tvrtkama, Puratos Konig, koja osigurava belgijske čokolade, i Gourmandu, koji je jutros dostavio izfreze croissane, a nadovezuju se na dobro iskustvo prošlogodišnje konferencije CO2 za 55. And allow me now to switch to English. So, ladies and gentlemen, the title of today's waste conference, Yesterday Trash, Today a Problem, Tomorrow Resources, points very well to the complexity of dealing with waste, ranging from challenges to opportunities. Waste management doesn't indeed stand by itself, but is intertwined with environmental protection and sustainability policies. The previous speakers touched upon this complex relationship our societies and we also as individuals have with waste. Waste that we should reduce and reuse. Before announcing Ms. Elsie Haertjens, Manager Commercial Partnerships at Veolie Belgium, who will talk about Belgium's expertise and efforts toward more sustainable and responsible waste management, I would like to share with you some data about waste in Belgium. Although it is Belgium, and it is therefore not that simple, because it's not waste management is not a competence of the federal central government, but of our regional governments of Flanders, Wallonia, which is represented here by Željko Preska, and the very urban Brussels capital region. But all three regions place a strong emphasis on reducing waste and selective sorting, with initiatives such as container parks and, above all, awareness programs. The result is that Belgium is now among the 5 European champions in recycling, with a recycling rate of above 54% in average, and more than 80%, for example, in packaging waste. As in many countries, the most recycled materials are metals, glass, paper and cardboard, plastics, and organic waste. This is also directly reflected in our economy. Indeed, more than 22% of all material used in Belgium's economy comes from circular economy practices. These are recycled materials, above all steel and aluminum, recycled plastics, construction materials, textiles, and organic waste that is transformed into compost or biogas. Finally, non-recyclable waste, still almost 45% of the waste, is burned in specialized facilities where the energy produced is recovered to generate electricity or heat, while landfill is really the last resort, only for less than 1% waste that cannot be recycled or burned. Belgium aims at continuing to increase resource efficiency and sustainability towards meeting its sustainable development goals by 2030. And now, let's hear the presentation by Ms. Elsie Haertjens about the experiences and suggestions from Europe and the example from Belgium. Voilà pour now.
I'm waiting for my presentation to go on the screen.
Ispričavam se, dečki iz režije, može pomoć?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Elsie Haertjens. I'm working for Veolie. I'm manager commercial partnerships, and one of my main responsibilities is coordinating and facilitating subsidized projects. So I'm here as a coordinator and a facilitator of subsidized projects. I will introduce you a little bit in our work of Veolie, of what Veolie is doing, have some details on the Belgium, because I'm representing Belgium, Veolie Belgium, and then go over to some nice projects, examples that we are doing, and finalizing with the subsidy project where I was invited for a cycle. Veolie, acting for ecological transformation. That is what we do. This is Estelle Brangianov. She is our leading lady, the CEO of our Veolie group, and she inspires us all to become the reference in ecological transformation. Every day again, she wants us to handle and to combat the environmental challenges that we face every day, fighting and adapting climate change, combating and increasing scarcity of resources, and finally, fighting all forms of pollution that we are seeing. Resourcing the world, that is what we want to do. Ecological transformation means acting to reconcile human progress and environmental protection. That is what we stand for, that is what we are doing. We have three main businesses, water, waste, and energy, and they are now lined up as separate businesses, but in the reality they are working together. Water management, we manage the entire water cycle. Waste, liquid, solid, non-hazardous, and hazardous waste management. Our expertise covers the entire waste life cycle from collection to recycling. And that finally, energy efficiency, efficient management of heating and cooling networks, renewable energy production, and electric vehicle flexibility. We have three main businesses, but our mission goes further than that. We want to save and regenerate resources. We want to decarbonize, and we want to depollute. Those are our main activities that we want to do with the business that we serve. Some key figures. We want to be carbon neutral by 2050. That is a very important target that we have, and we are already, of course, working to get that target done. It is a challenging target. We are working with almost 220 collaborators all over the world, and we are almost all over the world with 58 countries, in 58 countries. You see at the circle that all over the world, electricity of energy, waste and water are almost equal there. If we go to Belgium, Luxembourg, we see that waste is our main activity. Over there we are almost with 5,000 collaborators, we grow a little bit more, and we have 67 operational sites in Belgium. There are three non-negotiables for Veolie Belgium, Luxembourg, and actually for the whole Veolie group, and that's ethics, compliance, safety, and sustainability. I go a little bit deeper in the three main businesses that we have, and then go further on the waste management. Water services. We preserve and regenerate fresh water. We clean up water and guaranteeing its quality. We decarbonize, progress energy efficiency, reducing leaks, recovering energy from sludge. Water is a very important source and probably will be more important in the coming years. So it's very important that we treat and handle our water very well, that we purify every wastewater stream that we have. And we do that by distribution of drinking water, supplying of drinking water, collective solutions for water softening, and further on. Energy. We are there for challenges and solutions for low carbon, local energy, by bioenergy, renewable flexibility and services, district heating and cooling networks, energy efficiency for buildings and industry. And then where you all came for today, waste challenges and solutions. Preserving and regenerating natural resources by recycling and creating secondary raw materials. It's already said a lot of times by the speakers before, it's very important that we see our waste as a source for new raw materials, as a source for energy, a source for heat, a source for steam. We also clean up pollution. For example, PFAS, one of the most dangerous chemical pollutions. We are expert as Veolie to depollute that. Decarbonize our own treatment solutions using recycled materials or renewable energy produced from waste to decarbonize our customers' production and processes. An overview of our waste services. We are present in the entire value chain. That's important. We are there from the collection for industrial, commercial, and municipal collection of waste, further for sorting and recycling, and then the rest fraction that cannot be recycled is used for energy production, energy, heat, and steam. Some reference projects. Aquiris is a wastewater treatment plant. It's purifying the wastewater of the Brussels region, but it's not only purifying, it's also producing electricity from biogas, solar energy, and hydraulic turbine. Here, water and energy efficiency and waste are coming together. Upgrade bioenergy, UBE, and biomethanization plants. Solid and liquid organic waste from various streams that cannot further be used for human or animals is there treated. It is digested organic waste to produce biogas and electricity. The electricity is going to our neighbor site of DP World Antwerp. We are looking for synergies in every project that we do, and in this case, it's a DP World Antwerp that is using the electricity of UBE. Ghent sorting line. It's a very impressive site where I love to go. When you go in the industrial hall over there, you see how the industrial waste is coming in, getting in the installations, and there all the cardboard, hard plastic, plastic films, wood, aluminium, iron is going out of that waste stream. Everything that is recyclable is getting out of that waste stream. The rest fraction getting incinerated for heat, steam, or electricity. We have a site dismantling mattresses in Belgium. There we recover the metal, the latex, the textile, and the pure. Valomats is a site that is important for the Acycle project, where I go later on. There, the bottom ashes of the incinerator, so when the rest fraction of waste is burned, there is fly ash and bottom ashes. The bottom ashes, they are first treated by Valomac, where the iron is getting out, and then they go to Valomats, where we get the aluminium, the copper, and other precious metals like silver and gold out of it. So that means that the ashes, the waste stream, is also used to get valuable streams out of it. Ital, transforming industrial plastic waste to high quality reclate the flakes, the plastic flakes that can further be used as a secondary raw material. Filao, bottle to bottle, recycling the Belgian PET bubbles in 100% circular logic stream. It's a joint venture with another company. E-wood, waste to energy solution. There we incinerate non-recyclable waste wood into electricity and heat. This installation helps achieving the Flemish climate targets. Sleco is one of our incinerators. It's a special incinerator because it not only incinerates household waste, it also incinerates sludge. It's not on this picture, but the heat and electricity is used in Ecluse. That is a further diagram. It's, I'll go over to that. This is a district heating network. It's actually a partnership between Sleco, Indaver, Vinek, MLSO, Waterlink, and the Port of Antwerp Bruges, where we, with Sleco, produce the steam. Brussels Airport, sustainable water and waste management. There we have an in-house wastewater treatment plant and 2 in-house container parks. We manage there the water and waste. Bella Vita, a heating network and eco-district. This is a district heating network that is fed by biomass, a local renewable energy source. It's in the Walloon region. And then U Square, geothermal heating network, installation of a new central heating plant on the site of the former XL barracks, connected to the heating network with a geothermal probes in Brussels. And then the reason why I'm here, the project A-Cycle. Project A-Cycle is a subsidy project from Horizon. For the people who are not familiar with subsidized projects, there are different programs who write at calls where you can apply to admit a consortium with new innovative project ideas. Horizon Europe is one of those projects, and with the consortium with over 22 partners, we submitted the project idea A-Cycle. A-Cycle responds to a need or a problem, and in this case is that the ashes resulting from incineration of municipal solid waste, biomass, and sewage are underutilized and largely landfilled. We already heard that several times, and it's that problem that the project A-Cycle wants to tackle. You see here an overview of the project. I know there will be further presentations where they also refer to the project A-Cycle. I will keep my part only to the Belgian work that we do in the A-Cycle project. We are there as an industrial partner. We as Veolie deliver the ashes from the incinerator. We deliver ashes from household waste, biomass waste, and also combined ashes by sludge and household waste from Sleco. Our ashes, our bottom ashes, are already treated by Valomac and Valomet. That means that all the iron, all the other precious stuff that is in it is already out for it, and then we go further with the treatment. Together with the Knowledge Institute, with Resourceful, University of Ghent, with Sleco, we look what are the characteristics of those ashes, what are the potential of those ashes, and how can we use them in construction materials. In Belgium, we are looking how we can use the bottom ashes into cement, into sandwich panels, and into paver blocks. We already did a year-long the characterization and tests in labos, and we are now ongoing in the first pilot. That means that we are now creating a sandwich panel that will be used in a construction of Colruyt, that will create paver blocks that will be used on sidewalks in the University of Ghent, and that we are now testing the cement on the different strings and other stuff that is needed for cement. We're also investigating the fly ashes. Fly ashes are the other ashes that are produced in incinerators, and they are seen in Belgium as hazardous waste. We as Veolie have safety as one of our main priorities, and we never want that the health of people is in danger. So we're really investigating deeper how fly ashes can be used in construction materials. We found, together with University of Ghent and Orbix, that fly ashes can storage CO2 and further during the construction capture CO2. But we are now investigating if there is an earthquake or something else, if the dangerous characterizations, the heavy metals in those carved stones stay in the stones and are not in danger for the humans or the environmental impact. So that is for Horizon project A-Cycle. That is not the only project that we have as Veolie. Veolie wants to be the pioneer, the reference in the ecological transformation, and for us it's important to every time again think further, think in the future. And this kind of projects help us to accelerate our innovative process, to create partnership with a Knowledge Institute to help us, and we can help them to go further and help the environmental challenge, to battle the environmental challenges that we have. And it should be completely there. Individually, we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean. It's meaning that it's important to work together. Subsidy projects are a nice platform to work together, but it's not only a subsidy project that we need to work together. We can't do this alone, waste management. It's a huge task where we need each other to do this. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Elsie. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for showing us what can we do with our waste. But let's take a little step back, maybe. Can you tell us, please, and the audience here, what methods have proven most effective in encouraging Belgian citizens to practice actively, to participate actively in waste separation and recycling programs?
I think it's important that we combine different methods and that we start at a young age. It's already said by other presentations, we have to start at a young age to educate them how to sort, how to collect their waste. Teach them that waste is not the end, that waste is a source that can be reused, that can produce energy, heat, steam. I think also that there have to be economical incentive, but maybe a punishment for illegal landfill, for example. And further, I think it's important that there are installations, garbage can, accessible garbage can, that there's a good collection system so that citizens don't have a hard time to sort and to collect their waste in a good way.
Thank you very much. So, on the other hand, we have NGOs. We have people that constantly remind us of the climate change, the problem with the maybe bad emissions from waste. So how does Veolie approach partnerships with environmental NGOs, especially when they are they have different viewpoints of waste management practices?
I'm gonna answer as manager commercial partnerships and responsible for subsidy projects. We have in the past the project Koben, and there we make in collaboration with EcoPower. EcoPower is a cooperative. It was the municipality that gives us a chance to work together with them. They have, of course, a completely other view on waste management systems. In that case, it was a district heating network fit by the incinerator in that region. And the important thing is that all partners, in this case EcoPower and Veolie, wanted the district heating network realized. So you're sitting on the table with two different views, but have wanted the same end result, and that is very important. And then we have to look what are the common values, and look what are the different values, and how can we combine them together. In that case, we created a business model where each have very well-defined responsibilities, tasks, and how the profits is shared and things like that, because we wanted the same output, and that is important. It doesn't matter that we have a different view. They have other complementary characteristics that are important to realize this installation.
You just mentioned business models. Fine. Is waste management profitable? Should it be profitable? Because many of our politicians say from the municipality, cities, and the government, waste isn't about making money. It's about taking the trash out of the street.
Yes. It's not an easy question, but I think money is like time. If it's not a priority, it doesn't have one. If you look at the costs of waste management, we have to look to all the costs. The impact on health, the impact on the environment. Those are also costs that can be avoided by a good waste management system.
Can we calculate those costs?
I think we can. I think that is already done, that there are already research done on that topic. I think we are the last generation that can make an impact on the climate change. So we need to do this for our children, for our grandchildren. If we ever want to learn our grandchildren to ski or their children to ski, we have to have snow. And I think if we go on like this, in 20 years the snow can be gone. So we need to act now.
And the last question, please, for today. What initial steps would you recommend for Croatian cities aiming to improve their waste management systems?
I think there's already a lot of things done. I saw a lot of examples, a lot of good examples passing by. I think my personal opinion is start with an assessment. What is already there? What is already working? And then Put a target in time. What do you want to deliver and when do you want to deliver? And then make the planning. Who are the stakeholders? What resources are needed? Which help do you need? And start with it. It is a difficult process and it won't go easy. There will be good times, there will be bad times, but start with what quick wins, that you get trusted with the waste management system. There's no good answer on that, I think.
Thank you very much. Please,
Thank you.
Big applause.
Most Croats are familiar with the ski resort in Denmark, which is located on the roof of the power plant. Over the past few years, it has become a global tourist attraction. That facility is called Copenhill, and it's located not far from the very center of Copenhagen. The power plant is managed by the Amager Ressourcecenter, so I invite Mr. Jonas Nedenskov, Head of Environment at ERC, to give the presentation, followed by a short discussion.
Yes, hello everybody, and thank you for the invitation to come and speak today. I'm the environmental manager or head of environment at the waste management company. We call it ARC, we don't call it Amager Ressourcecenter on a daily basis, but just call it ARC. So forgive me, I'll just say ARC when I'm talking about it. Yeah? Yes. Thank you. Yes, I'll start out just talk a little bit about the company, what activities we have, and how we work towards becoming CO2 neutral, and what we mean by that term. Yeah, and then I'll switch, talk a little bit about the waste facility, the power plant with the skiing slope. I won't talk much about the skiing slope because it's just nice wrapping. What's really interesting is what's beneath it. And then I'll touch a little bit about comparing landfilling and waste incineration. What are the benefits of waste incineration? And then I'll end up talk a little bit about how we end up where we are today. What happened before until today. Yeah. The company, we are 820 employees. We have waste collection. About 500 of our employees are occupied there. We have recycling sites. We manage about, I think we have 10 recycling sites, the big ones with 40 different kinds of fractions, and then we have 10 smaller ones. Then we have waste to energy, of course, and then we have visits and teaching. We touched a little bit about earlier today how we have educated people, why people sort the waste and stuff like that. Yeah, and then we are part owners of a landfill site. We own that together with another waste management company, and we also have together with them a transfer station for hazardous waste. And then lastly, we are ISO certified. That would be environmental management system we have, and also work on health and safety in general. Yeah, that's where we're situated. I don't know if you're familiar with the map of Denmark, but this is the eastern part of Denmark. We have the capital area, Copenhagen, the light gray one. So this is all very urbanized area. We have about 800,000, 900,000 inhabitants in this area that we service. Yeah. This is just to touch upon the waste flows in Denmark. We generate about 700 megatons of waste going to recycling, reuse, some kind of a material utilization a year. We import about 0.6 megatons a year, and then we export about 2.3 megatons a year. Denmark is a small country. If we had to do it all ourselves, it would become too expensive. Then we have energy utilization. That would be waste incineration. We incinerate about 3.8 megatons a year. generate district heating, electricity of that. We import a lot of waste from the rest of Europe, 0.6 megatons a year. This is not a task, it's very popular in Denmark. It's not everybody that understands or see waste as a resource. It's more like an environmental problem, and they had the feeling that everybody should be able to take hand of their own environmental problems. But if you actually import waste from somewhere where it's landfilled to somewhere where you can utilize it for energy production, it becomes a resource. So you convert it from a problem to a resource. Then we have, lastly, landfilling. We have about 0.3 megatons a year that is landfill. So we don't landfill a lot in Denmark. I'll come back to that on my last point when I talk about the history of why we are where we are today. In the corner, you can see the waste that my company or our waste to energy facility receives. It's about 600,000 tons of waste a year. About 1/3 of it is imported from abroad. It's from the UK, it's from Italy. It comes in by ship. Yeah, I have a comparison later on. Yeah. When we talked about me coming here today, one of the impressions that I got was that everybody thinks that we are so great in Denmark of sorting waste, but actually 55% of the waste from households is residual waste. So that goes for incineration. So only 45% is utilized or reused. No, not reused is not in this, but recycled, that would be. When I talk about reuse, I talk about when items are used as the item that they were before they became waste, and recycling if you crush it in some way, for example. Plastics, if you chop it up and melt it and make new plastic, that's reuse, recycling. Yeah. Towards CO2 neutrality. This is how we calculate and what we mean by CO2 neutrality. We have our value chain. We have on the left-hand side, we have the products that we buy and use in our production. This is the whole company. This is not only the waste incineration plant. Then we have the direct emissions, what comes out of the stack. And then we have downstream, that would be bought services. That would be waste sorting done by somebody else that we transport, collecting waste from the recycling station, deliver it for some sort of sorting facility or recycling facility. And then lastly, that are the avoided emissions. That would be when you recycle stuff, when you reuse stuff, then you avoid new production. If you collect aluminum, you avoid the excavation in mines for new aluminum production. So those all together should become 0 or less. That's our goal. And if you look at it, our main challenge is the direct emissions. And that would be the waste incineration plant. And that comes from plastic waste that ends up in the residual waste. So the thing that we're going to do about that is, I have here drawn the map of today. We have the source segregation, we have the recycling station on the far left, and then we have biogas. All the food waste goes to biogas production. Biogas is used for either transportation or decentral heating of houses. And then the residual waste goes to waste incineration, and the rest is going for recycling. And also biogas, the remainder of the food, it goes to agriculture for fertilizer. Yeah? And then we have the ship with the residual waste. What we're going to do is we're going to do two things. We're going to put in a central sorting facility for the residual waste to take out even more. And that will be after source segregation. The residual part is sorted centrally. And then that's not enough. We still have some fossil carbon in the emissions. That would be still some plastic waste that are not recyclable. It will also be plastics in other kinds of waste. You have plastic in other kinds of waste than plastic waste. Diapers, for example. So we are working on carbon capture as well. This is our pathway to carbon capture. We have had, together with the University of Denmark, we have had a pilot facility just to test it along with waste incineration. Is it possible? That was a catch and release plant. It's a very, very small experimental one. And then in the middle, that's what we have now, a demonstration facility where we try to test whether steady operation is possible. It's also a small facility. It catches about 1,000 tons a year. And then we're going up to full scale. Full scale will be about 440,000 tons a year. It's kind of a jump. And you can see I have a small calculation down in the corner saying that we will reduce the emissions from 236,000 tons a year of fossil carbon, fossil CO2, to only 60 kilotons a year. And then the negative ones will be sold. That's a way to finance this project because it is expensive, as you probably know. And if we succeed with this, we will be CO2 neutral. Yeah. And this is just to show you the waste sorting facility, and it will be only residual waste from household which will be sorted. And the reason for it not being from industry is regulation stuff. We're not allowed to handle recyclable waste from industry as a public company. It's going to be situated next to the waste incineration plant. You have that in the top. And it's going to be down there, or just south of it. Yeah. And it will be exciting to see what the public says. Will they still sort their waste if they hear that we are actually sorting it afterwards? But that will be a communication task, I guess. This is decided by the politicians, so let's see what happens. A little bit about the waste incineration plant. We produce electricity, we produce district heating. We are blessed with a very big district heating grid. It's about 40 kilometers wide, east-west and north-south. So it's very, very big. So that's a very, very nice thing. It's a gift for us because when you have waste incineration, you're only able to utilize about 28–30% of the energy content in the waste as electricity production. The rest will come out as heat. And if you don't have a district heating grid or a huge neighbor that can utilize your heat, then you have to vent it. So it's lost. Yeah. I won't go through the technical details. This is just to show you that the incineration plant, or the incineration part of the plant, is a very, very small part. It's actually a chemical factory saying that that's the flue gas treating, and the wastewater treatment is by far the largest of the plant. I've taken some numbers, and this is not for you to see all the numbers, but to show you this column in the middle is what is considered best available technology by the European Union. And we actually below this. As a disclaimer, I have to say that this is average numbers throughout the year, and this is maximum numbers. But we are way below what's considered best available technology. So the flue gas is very clean. That also means when we have carbon capture, the CO2 captured, it's actually food grade. You can use it for food production, preservation of foods, or in sparkling water or something, whatever. Yeah. So it goes both for the wastewater and also for the flue gas. It's very, very clean. We consider this state of the art. Just to show you a comparison between landfilling and waste incineration. This is quite an old, it's from 2012. It was in the days where we began importing waste from abroad, and it was not a very popular thing, so we had to have this as part of the debate. We had the Technical University of Denmark to make this, and to show you if you have both the emissions from the landfill, the emissions from the waste incineration plant, and the benefits from the energy production. If you take all that into account, you have the results. It's a black bar in the bottom, it's negative, so it's netto, it's a saving you have. And you have 3 different systems. You have on the right-hand side, you have a very green system, and in the middle, you have a system where you have a lot of fossil energy production. And you avoid the fossil energy production if you produce energy from waste. Also, you have the light blue one, probably needs a little bit of explanation, is segregation of carbon in the landfill. You will have some of the biodegradable waste that is not degraded. It stays in the landfill, so it's actually a kind of storage that you have. But it's not enough to make it better than waste incineration. But also you can see that the one in the bottom, I don't know, the brown with the lines, it's the benefits or the savings from the heat. So you need to utilize the heat to get the full benefit from waste incineration. Little bit about the history of why we are here today. This is back in the old days. We had landfills all over. We also had a little bit of waste incineration. The first one was from 1903. It was from the capital area where they had huge issues with too much waste. So they made this waste incineration plant and used the heat in the nearby hospital. There were absolutely no flue gas cleaning, and there were health and safety for the workers were not good. I have seen pictures where they worked with the waste and put it in the ovens. Not a nice thing to look at, but we had it back in those days. This is just to tell that waste incineration in Denmark is something that we're used to. It's been there always. In 1970, we ran out of space, so we needed to do something with the waste instead of landfilling it. This is our predecessor. In the area behind this facility is where Coburn Hill is. This is our old plant. It was demolished back in 2016. So I used to work there in the old days. In the 80s, the focus was on reuse and recycling. So we started to have all these recycling stations. Yeah, that was back in the 80s. In the 90s, the focus came upon flue gas cleaning and electricity production. Many places you see it's the other way around. You have electricity production first, and then comes heat afterwards. But we had the district heating grid already. In the 20s, the focus came upon source segregation of waste. Every municipality needs to implement source segregation. A lot of them had it in already, but they were made same rules for the whole country, so it needed to be the same rules. Today, there's only one municipality in Denmark who do not comply fully with the regulation. In 2025, somebody got the idea that the waste incineration plants should compete. The reason for that was that we have an overcapacity in Denmark of 30%, meaning that we can incinerate 30% more waste than we actually generate ourselves as a society. That's the reason for importing waste, or not the reason for doing it, it's why we're able to import waste. So now we're going to compete, and the thing that this was done in order to ensure that the worst environmental performing plants would go out first. I would say that the environmental best plants are also the expensive, so it makes it hard to compete. So that's where we are today. Yeah? Thank you. Some pictures of the skiing slope, though.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the history lesson from the 70s, 80s, early 2020s. You just stated that you are competing with each other. So the question, the same question as I asked your colleague from Belgium, I want to know the Danish point of view. Is waste management profitable, or should it be profitable? Is it possible to generate money, not only energy?
It seems like it is possible to generate money. Whether it should generate money, it's, as Elsie said, it's a difficult question. You need money to make it go around, otherwise it will be very, very expensive.
The problem is that you need to invest millions and millions to start some kind of a cycle, and then when you get to a certain point, you can then only make money. My other question is a similar one as for Belgium. Environmental groups claim that the emissions from power plants or incinerators are harmful. Can we compare emissions from the landfills and power plants? And also we should take into account the energy used to produce the classic energy and the emissions that such plants produce. So can we conclude, based on the data you have, which is more harmful for the environment, classical landfills or power plants?
I have no doubt you can conclude that waste incineration is definitely better. But the LCA, or the life cycle assessment that I showed, is only for climate impact. So you have things like dioxins, for example. If you have an uncontrolled landfill fire, for example, the amount of dioxins emitted is humongous. Elsie also mentioned PFAS, for example. We have a huge issue of PFAS in the leachate from landfills, from old closed down landfills. PFAS is destroyed in a waste incineration plant. So it has many benefits.
Many benefits. Waste to energy is a system that is, I should say, controversial in Croatia. Many environmental organizations oppose it. How did Denmark address these concerns and gain public trust?
People and NGOs are not nervous about the emission. At least that's not my impression. The discussion is more of the resource question. Is investments like ours, it's a huge investment, is that an obstacle to more recycling and reuse? I wouldn't say it is, but I can understand the concern. But it's more on that point.
And my last question, if you could give one key piece of advice to Croatian cities and waste management companies, what would it be?
The same as Elsie's, but I would probably add on a risk assessment of the landfills that you have. Go out and see which one is a real risk and address those risks first, and then build up from there.
Thank you very much. Big applause, ladies and gentlemen.